in 1841, when Chinese government at that time was defeated, it was forced by British power to open Chinese door to British merchants. So 5 port cities were forced to open. Shanghai is one of those 5 port cities at that time. When Jews learned about this, they also went there. The first family who went to Shanghai for business purposes was Sassoon's family, whose origin came from Bangladesh.
It's not a city like any other. If you take Montreal, for example, it's as if Westmount was owned by, let's say, by the United Kingdom with its own governor, its own police force, its own rules, its own courts, and it was British law, let's say, in the international settlement in Shanghai. The police were the Gurkha police. The Chinese had absolutely no jurisdiction at all.
In Europe, a number of diplomats saved Jews, even against the wishes of their own government. But the absolute greatest diplomat was Dr. Ho Fengshen. He was responsible for saving literally thousands and thousands of Jews in Nazi-occupied Austria in 1938 and 1939.
Institutions like associations for Eastern Central European Association to help refugees, but they have a general organizations to help put all Jews together, those have connections with all 4 Jewish communities to coordinate their policies to try to survive. So, generally speaking, there were some arguments, but generally speaking, they help each other a lot.
Also, my gratitude to the Chinese government, and in particular to the late Fang Shenho, China's consul to Vienna, in issuing visas, thus allowing persons interned in concentration camps to be released. It was only with proof of this visa that my father was released from Dachau, and shortly thereafter were able to seek the safe haven that was Shanghai. On arrival in Shanghai, we were able to find lodging in the international settlement. However, refugees arriving were assisted by the Jewish Council in finding living accommodation or were housed in hangmen or community lodges. Food as well as money was provided if needed. These refugees were mainly from Austrian Germany as well as Poland and Czechoslovakia.
I know that my father kept my identity as a Jew hidden from me because in our building, the apartment building, we were mostly occupied by German Nazis and Japanese officials, and outside my bedroom window was the swastika flag flying from the Kaiser Wilhelm Schule. We found out after the war that the Germans had sent an SS colonel from their headquarters in Tokyo to run things in Shanghai, to impress upon the Japanese, to round up all the Jews and ship them back to Germany, which the Japanese had refused to do.
Sure, they have very rich cultural centers. Actually, they had at least 7 synagogues and quite a few clubs, many schools, and they put their children to learn culture, Hebrew, and many ethnic groups like sports, Maccabee Sports Association to play soccer, and the musicians organization. They publish books in Hebrew, in Yiddish, and then in English, in Russian, all kind of cultural activities.
Restaurants, stores, services, as well as many congregations sprung up in the ghetto, and I have recollections of attending many operettas and concerts. Our refugees were very resourceful and tried to make life pleasant.
On Wednesdays and Sunday mornings, we went for Hebrew lessons in the synagogue. There was a rabbi from England, his name was Rabbi Brown, and he gave us Hebrew lessons when we were there. So we went to synagogue for holidays. Same holidays that we celebrate here, we did the same things. We always ate kosher food. We had a shohet to get us kosher food, and my father used to kill chickens, and that helped.
Years ago, I visited Shanghai. There was a Jewish ghetto were established after the Pacific War, and between Japan and the United States, and under the influence of Nazi Germany, Japanese set up like a restricted area for stateless persons. They didn't say Jews, they said stateless. But the chief purpose were put Jews in a restricted area. That's why it was called Hankyu Ghetto. Later on, Jews were forced to move to that area, and they are not allowed to leave that area freely without permission.
However, this changed in that the stateless refugees were ordered to move into an area of Shanghai known as Hangzhou. Hangzhou, approximately the size of Manhattan, then was populated with 100,000 people, primarily Chinese. Add 18,000 refugees to this number, making housing extremely scarce. We were forced to sell houses, move out of apartments, and move into this designated area. The perimeter, which was patrolled by refugee police, supervised by Japanese soldiers. We had a self-contained community. Those of us within the perimeter wanting access to other parts of Shanghai needed a passport and badge showing the location of your destination.
Refugees could leave, they could find jobs if they wanted to in the greater city. I remember seeing in our apartment building there were Austrian or German refugees as mechanics working on automobiles that the Japanese would be driving. So to that extent there was some mixing.
Who end up in China didn't really have intention, especially for those refugees. This is their last, probably also the only choice, because they are not accepted by any other countries at that time. The only place for them was Shanghai, so they end up there. When they saw other opportunities, they wanted to go to the United States because they have their relatives, they could build up their Jewish life. There's no way they can build up Jewish life in China at that time because there were Chinese Civil War. That's why most of them began to leave in 1947. After the establishment of State of Israel, many of them went to Israel. I think 1/3 of them went to Israel. By 1922, 90% already left. And still like 700 some people remain, but by 1956, most of them remained left, and less than 100 people remain.
In 1947, 2 years after the war ended, we were able to obtain our visa for entry to Canada. Traveled by boat to San Francisco, by train from San Francisco to New York, and on to Montreal.
We stayed in Shanghai for a year and a half. Most people in Montreal are born in Montreal, bred in Montreal, went to school in Montreal. It's a surprise to people when you find out, myself or my colleagues who were in Shanghai or who were overseas, have that kind of different cultural background.